Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Geeknd Live. I am Jamie. If you're new here, you're very welcome. If you're old here, you're still welcome as well. I am coming live from a random Mexico City Airbnb. And if you were here last week, you won't be a stranger to this exciting on-brand background. But I have added a couple of YouTube-style lights, just to make it a bit more YouTube, So anyway, I'll tell you what's coming up in a moment for this week's show. But first, a quick few hellos in the chat. David was here earlier. Hello to you, David, mate. Glenn the Geeky Hippie was here earlier. Don't know if he'll be here now, or he might be here during the show. I think he got confused with the timings. And also Frogger has quoted the Beatles. He won't be here because he's been working like a dog, and now he should be sleeping like a log. Jane Flakes is here as well. Hello to you, Jane. Simon D is in the house. Peter as well is here. This is a Star Wars channel now, Peter, but I think on the live streams we can talk about some non-Star Wars stuff. But the main stories this week are all Star Wars related. Gaz Nottingham's here as well. Sidge, hello to you, mate. Anders also. And Phil Hawkins is here for a little bit. You see, I'm clashing with people's, sleep when it comes to Frogger. Phil's dinner at the moment, it's 8 p.m. in the UK. This is a later time than usual. Going to test it out, and maybe we'll find a time eventually that suits. We're never going to find a time that suits everybody, but a time that suits the most people possible. But this is 2 hours later than normal. So I don't know if this is clashing with Sidge's band practice. He seems to be here. He usually can't make it. And also Simon D with his basketball as well. He seems to be here at 8 o'clock as well in the UK. Nadine is here as well. Good evening to you, Nadine, or buenas tardes from Mexico. And Marco is here all the way from sunny Ireland as well. So let me tell you what's coming up in this week's Alleged Entertainment. What have we got? We're going to talk about the Marcia Lucas thing just for a few moments because, being a Star Wars YouTube channel, I'm probably at the moment the only Star Wars YouTube channel that hasn't covered it in some sort of way. So we will cover it, first of all, in a moment. I'm just pleased that I say her name right. I was saying Marcia Lucas for possibly decades. What else? Visions, Star Wars Visions. I will give you my spoiler-free thoughts on Visions. I binge-watched it for you just yesterday. I'd like to know your thoughts as well. If you're watching in the future, aka on the replay, leave a little comment as well. Let me know what you think to all of the points that we cover. I generally reply to most comments, and also there has been a Boba Fett special announced, so a more kind of like behind the scenes look at the character. So I assume the kind of the process that led to the character becoming the character that we know in terms of how he looks, how he behaves, and also it's probably in terms of the date where we're going to get the first footage of the book of Boba Fett. So we'll cover that as well for the next 30 minutes or so. Right. I'm pleased to see that Gaz Nottingham is not driving, so this time works for Gaz. In fact, Gaz, I think you suggested this time, actually. Peter hasn't seen Visions yet. Did you miss something? Well, you missed something, 9 episodes to be precise, but you haven't missed. They're still there. They're still there waiting for you, Peter. In terms of are they worth watching, I'll give you my opinion very soon. It will be spoiler-free. They're quite hard things to spoil, to be honest, because they're standalone sort of stories in each episode. But yeah, let's keep it spoiler-free in the chat as well for the likes of Peter who haven't seen it yet. Marco has seen it. I can see the first 3 episodes anyway, and some mixed views. I will come on to that in a little bit. But first of all, let's bring up the first story, so to speak. It is the Marcia Lucas episode. So I am reading this. I mean, this has been pretty much on all the websites, but I'm reading this on enemy.com because it just, makes me feel like I'm home again. And also I'm young again, back when the Enemy used to be a magazine, like a physical magazine out of actual paper from probably actual trees. Anyway, so you've probably heard about this. Star Wars editor This is the original Star Wars. Marcia Lucas says, J.J. Abrams doesn't have a clue. A further quote is in regards to the sequels. I think we're talking specifically the JJ's films here. I don't know if she dug into, say, The Last Jedi specifically, but another quote, absolutely positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. And the picture there probably gives you an idea, if you don't know what she's referring to, probably gives you an idea of what particularly upset her in The Force Awakens. So let's read more of this article. Star Wars editor Marcia Lucas has hit out at the Disney-produced films in the franchise, saying Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and director J.J. Abrams don't have a clue. Lucas spoke to J.W. Rinsler for his new book, Howard. I'm terrible at pronunciations, but Kazanjian is my best attempt. A Producer's Life. And this was specifically about The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And, anyone who's ever been involved with Star Wars is always going to be, at least attempted to be dragged into the discourse. And that successfully was achieved here, it's probably fair to say. And, she commented on the decision, particularly to kill off Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. More words now from Marcia. I like Kathleen. I always liked her. She was full of beans. She was really smart and really bright. Really wonderful woman. And I liked her husband, Frank. I liked them a lot. I think she liked them. Now that she's running Lucasfilm and making movies, it seems to me that Kathy Kennedy and J.J. Abrams don't have a clue about Star Wars. And this is the thing. She's saying they don't have a clue about Star Wars. She's not saying they don't know what they're doing in terms of making movies. They don't get it. And J.J. Abrams is writing these stories. When I saw that movie where they kill Han Solo, I was furious. I was furious when they killed Han Solo. She added, absolutely positively, there was no rhyme or reason to it. I thought, you don't get the Jedi story. You don't get the magic of Star Wars. You're getting rid of Han Solo. So there we go. I imagine this is not news to you. It's definitely been discussed, shall we say. And I'll be interested to see what you guys think as well in the live chat. If you're watching in the future, once again, leave me a comment as well. And, I said earlier, it's the Star Wars discourse. These days we're all very familiar with it. This is the Star Wars discourse way. Someone from the old guard speaks out about the new. I do interviews, as you know, with Star Wars people, and you do look for perhaps, cheeky ways of trying to create a storm in a way. Whether you intended to create the storm or whether you were just genuinely intrigued by the person's opinion, I like to think I fall into the latter there. But anyway, it happens, and it's going to continue happening. What I don't like about it was, though, if obviously you should not take people's words out of context, and sometimes the headline quotes, when separated, hit you with a completely different tone, and this can put people off doing more interviews. Marcia Lucas doesn't do very many interviews. She doesn't need to do interviews. I'd love to interview her. And I don't know how she'll feel about the reaction that this interview has gotten her. Some people will just think, nah, not worth it, not doing anymore. But I think if social media was, like it is now in the Phantom Menace day, we would have had it just like now then. It would have been the same from the original trilogy to the prequels. And in fact, I think I read that Marcia Lucas actually did speak out about the Phantom Menace specifically. I think she said that she cried when she saw the Phantom Menace, and not the good crying either. So it's not the first time, I guess, therefore she's spoken out about new Star Wars films that she hasn't been involved with. My opinion is, personally, I don't really care. I personally will never say that a qualified filmmaker doesn't have a clue, because I ain't one. I'm still allowed to not enjoy what they've created, of course. But again, I don't think Marcia Lucas was slamming J.J. Abrams as a filmmaker. It was more specifically to getting Star Wars. And the Han Solo thing, for me, was never a big problem. It was handing over, the Star Wars baton, if you like, from the old guard to the new guard. I assumed when this trilogy was announced, we were going to lose some core characters. And don't forget, Han Solo at times was going to get killed off in the original trilogy. Harrison Ford wanted that. Han Solo had this coming for years. So for me, it wasn't a big shock and it wasn't a big deal. So I don't really necessarily agree with Marcia Lucas there. Also, I really enjoyed the surprising scene moment between Han Solo and Ben in Episode 9. I was not expecting that, and I really enjoyed. That's one of the the highlights of that film for me. And I've said time and time again that the sequels had some great moments, but also many missed opportunities. And these comments don't change that. It doesn't, for me, matter what she thinks to those films. And if George Lucas made the sequels, there would still be anger out there, and a lot of it. It's Star Wars. That's the way it's going to be. You can't please everybody with something this big that spans so many different generations and expectations as well. My final thing on it is, I think it's important, if you do love the sequels, because the fandom infighting works both ways. Don't let these comments, in my opinion, you shouldn't let these comments change your views of Marcia Lucas. Don't let this hot take damage her legacy for you, because she was an important part of the original Star Wars. She was one of the editing team. She was an important part of it. And many films are saved in the edit, and Star Wars was one of them. And she was part of that show. So whatever you think to her comments, Marcia Lucas is a Star Wars legend, and she's welcome on the channel at any time. So there we go. There's my thoughts on that story. What do you guys think? Oh, David says she did have a jab at The Last Jedi as well. So I've only read the quotes. So there's me saying, don't always just read the quotes. Exactly what I did. So I believe it was the sequels and all Disney Star Wars films as a whole. She even hit the prequels as well. Yeah, she's had a go at the prequels in the past. Thank you, Chad. Chad's on stopwatch duty, which is always good to see. He's also giving his opinion on Visions. We're going to come to that later, Chad. Patience. I know you're trying to keep me to time and push things along. Chad's also confirmed that Marcia also said she cried when watching The Phantom Menace because it was so bad. But she said that a while ago. Yeah, that was a separate episode of Speaking Out. Phil's gone for his dinner. Enjoy your dinner, mate. Yeah, Peter. Well, they missed the ultimate fan service, bringing Leia, Han, and Luke together. Yeah, I agree. That's that's top of the the list of missed opportunities for me with the sequels. Gaz Nottingham, Marcia did an amazing job on editing the original trilogy, however, overly critical of the prequels and of the sequels. It's her right to do so, but it comes across as bitter at anything other than the original trilogy. Yeah, like I've said before, it does come across bitter, and she's entitled to her opinion. I agree it comes across bitter. Would it have come across bitter when you were sat in the room discussing it with her? Often there's no, it's like when you send a text message, when you don't really know someone, it's a bit dangerous to use the old sarcasm if they don't get you, There's no tone in these quotes. And 70% of people, including me, will only read these headline quotes. Yeah, they won't go in and dig deeper and get the context, the full context. And even that full context won't give you the tone at the time, and writers know what they're doing. Writers know what they're doing to get, the most response, to get the most clicks, to get the most publicity for whatever they're trying to sell. So whether she really did come across as bitter, just from my experience of interviewing people and being caught up in a much smaller Star Wars storm myself, when I interviewed Tim Rose, some of the things he said got taken completely out of context, which I was, very not happy about, embarrassed about almost. We'll talk about this another time. Most of you know about it already. I've seen it happen before. So I would sit on the fence right now and say I don't know if she necessarily means to be bitter towards them. Anyway, Chad agrees with Gaz. I feel she is just using nostalgia, stroke divorce, of course, ex-wife of George Lucas, to sway her opinions. And it's possible. It's absolutely possible. Sorry if I've missed anything here. Jane Flake says, everyone has their own idea of what makes a good film. I have to be honest. I enjoyed the sequels and the prequels. Maybe I have no taste. But Marcia Lucas might have that opinion of you, Jane. But they make me happy in a brutal, horrible world. And Jane Flakes from Gaz Nottingham has said it perfectly. I think well said there, Jane. Simon D, I didn't really care too much by 2015, but film journalist Chris Gore made a point of how Han died in the way villains die in films, falling from height. Wasn't very dignified for a hero character. Yeah, I'll give you that. But again, any qualms I had with Han's death, I didn't have many, if any. The episode 9 moment kind of made it all worthwhile for me. That was, again, such a surprise. I knew I'd stumbled onto a leak, so I kind of knew Han died going into The Force Awakens, but did not expect him to pop up in that cameo in episode 9. Sige, plenty of people say she saved the film in the editing. I don't think it's a controversial opinion. Yeah, I was reading some people on Twitter who were sort of attacking Marcia Lucas for speaking out in this way. How dare she? Saying that she sort of bigged up her own kind of like involvement with Star Wars and contribution to Star Wars. But, editing is the most, well, you got to shoot the thing first, but one of the most important processes of filmmaking. And she was a huge part of that, but I don't think she would ever elevate herself above George Lucas, ex-hubby in the courts. Right. Let's bring up something else. Sorry if I've missed any comments. It kind of jumps a bit as the comments flood through. Let me take this annoying banner off. Sorry about the banner, but you should follow the Geeknd on all the social medias if you're not already. There we go. Taking that off. Now it's Sige's comment off. Right, we'll come back to this. In fact, let's just do Peter's comment here. I must confess that I think the sequels are somewhat sober and negative compared to the original series, but might be a sign of the times. A lot of films are somewhat downbeat. I feel like modern movies have a darker tone, whether that be a visual tone, and you see that with the Harry Potter films as well. I mean, the first two couldn't be any different to the rest. I think after Christopher Nolan got involved, but yeah, I think that's more of a modern sort of movie making vibe. Yeah, David, one of these days Wamera should host a live stream and give me the day off. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I could be in the chat, see it from that angle. Right, okay, let's bring up another one because I know Chad's here and I know he's going to be watching the time. And I'm going to clip this out as a separate video as well, because I probably should, because it's new Star Wars content. So, on the Geekend Live here, let's talk about Star Wars Visions. Let me know in the chat what you thought to Visions, if you've seen it yet. This is going to be spoiler-free, so do not worry. If, in fact, bear with me a moment. I can see there's some internet issues. I'm just going to change something. No, we're good. So yeah, let's talk about Visions then. This is going to be spoiler-free, so please keep it that way in the chat. I'll give you my thoughts, then I'll pop over to the chat. And if you're watching in the future, aka on the replay, or in the special clip that I have specially made for the YouTubes, then let me know in the comments what you thought to Visions, what your favorite episode was, maybe least favorite as well, if any. But these are my thoughts. So again, spoiler free for anyone who hasn't seen it yet and doesn't know what I'm talking about. There are 9 short episodes, standalone stories produced by different anime studios, producers from Japan. And they all got dropped in one nerdy dump on Disney Plus. It's like, I think, about 2.5 hours in total. So it's bingeable. It's totally bingeable, which I did. But if it wasn't for this show this week, I wouldn't have. It was the day before the show. I would have liked to have dipped in and out. I saw Marco in the chat has seen 3 of them. I would have liked to have done that. Take my time, spend more time processing each one. But hey, this is a Star Wars channel in it, and I'm here for the people, so I binged them all. So the only spoiler I'm going to give you is that I know nothing about anime. Yeah, I know a bit about Japanese culture from like a tourist travel point of view and working there for a little bit point of view as well. And the series at the end, as the credits kicks in, each episode tells us that it's inspired by Star Wars. But of course, a lot of Japanese culture, the samurai, Kurosawa movies, you know, the stylistic storytelling vibe of his movies inspired Star Wars or George Lucas to make Star Wars. So it's like full circle, baby. The circle of inspiration is complete with this series. And while it mostly involves new characters that we may never see again, there are many familiar themes from the heart of Star Wars, like in the opener, the duel, which centers around a duel. You've got underdogs facing up to the evil oppressors. There's a lot about the Jedi, the Sith, family, lightsabers. In fact, there's a crazy amount of lightsabers. There's even like a saber umbrella in the duel, which was pretty mad. Sticking with the duel, which was one of my favorite episodes. Didn't like them all. I'll come on to that. Ronan was cool in the duel episode. A lot of mystery around him. Is he a Jedi? No. Well, he must be a Sith then. Well, apparently not. And I wondered afterwards: is there more info out there that I haven't seen? I don't know about. And then I start to think, I don't want there to be. I don't care if there is. I really love the mystery. The mystery is interesting enough for me. But then I've since seen that there's like going to be a novel. There is a novel coming out about the characters in the duel, which presumably will involve Ronan. Luckily, I don't read anyway. So the mystery will remain for me unless one of you ruins it, spoils it for me. There are some familiar faces if you want your, Star Wars and you want it familiar. In Tatooine Rhapsody, Scaramouche, where you do the Force lightning, you get a Boba and Jabba cameo. They feature, but they're not the main characters. I guess the main takeaway from Visions is, again, they're standalone stories, and there is so much variety. They're all very different. I mean, there's some themes, especially watching them all back to back. There are some blurring of themes, but visually, at least, they all feel very different, and that's probably thanks to using different studios. You know, the art style, the visuals, and the sounds as well are so good. I really like the way things looked very Japanese. I assume very anime, but at the same time, it still felt like Star Wars. And one thing I'm going to say as well, for the full experience of taking it in, this familiar but new thing, I recommend trying the Japanese audio with the English subtitles, depending on your concentration levels. I didn't do this for all of the episodes, and you are going to miss out on some great acting talent as well, English-speaking acting talent. David Harbour in The Elder, Lucy Liu in The Duel. But I don't know, it just makes it feel even more different and unique. So give that a go if you haven't already. Overall, my thoughts, look, I'm not inspired to go off and explore more anime. I'm not. Some episodes really worked for me. Some didn't quite work for me. I liked 3 episodes a lot. The Ninth Jedi, the duel that I mentioned, the visual style of the duel was just awesome. What a great opener. And also The Elder as well. They were the 3 episodes I liked the best. I mean, the episodes do get weird, and that's the beauty. They can get weird. And, I think that's the sort of, for me, the best thing from this series, whether it's, a one and done kind of thing. The creators were free to do what they want, free from the shackles of what's come before, the canon, the Skywalker name. And I'm good with that format. As an aside, I like having something that we don't have to compare, even though we will, because we're Star Wars fans, we don't have to compare to anything that's come before, just take it for what it is, like Marvel's What If. I'd love a Star Wars version of that, but this is probably the closest we're going to get for a while. If it's a second season, I'll be there. I'll watch them equally. I'm not that asked for more. It was enjoyable. It was fun. It was unique. And I think it's something that a direction Star Wars should go off and do more of, in terms of non-canon material. But, some episodes were great. Some episodes for me were just a bit meh. So let me know what you think. What was your favorite? Let me know in the chat or in the future comments as well. Right then, I'm going to pop over to the chat in regards to Visions. I can see there's 5 minutes left, according to Chad, the stopwatch Campbell. He hasn't said that. I'm just assuming he might have said it. I'm just assuming he has. Right, where is the position? What I will last left this in. NT Blood. Seen 2/3 of Visions. Pretty nice series. It is a pretty nice series. Yeah, it's a pretty nice way of summing it up. Sige has not seen it yet. Sige, I can't remember if you're into anime and what have you, but it is worth watching. Like average length is probably 12 minutes or something. I think there's some episodes as short as like 8. The longest is like 22, and that's including like the credits as well. So there's no harm in trying. You know, I've given you the 3 I liked the best. Jane did Visions last night. I loved the first one and possibly the last one, but the second and a couple of others really passed me by as irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, I guess essentially they're all irrelevant to the Star Wars storyline because they're not canon. But yeah, no, I hear you on that. There was one, in fact, how do you say it? TOB1. I didn't like that one at all. There was none I hated, but that was the closest, I guess. So I was like, I'm struggling to get through this, and it's only 10 minutes long. David, so far I've only seen episode 1. Went in with basically non-existent expectations and ended up really enjoying it. No matter what I'm in for the rest. Yeah, I think something like this as well, being non-canon and having a slightly different, less hype-fueled build-up means you naturally go in with less or no expectations, and I think that can be a very healthy thing sometimes. I'm going to read something non-Visions related, but from Simon D. I've got a scoop. The cinematographer on Book of Boba, Dean Cundy, has just signed on to Mando Season 3. He shot old school classics like Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Oh, wow. Wow. So he's like old school in the new school of the volume. Is he, yeah. How have you got that scoop, Simon? How have you got that scoop? Is he a friend of yours? Friend of a friend? You know, someone who knows someone? A guy who knows a guy? And all that? Yeah, do you mean the Luke Skywalker specific episode of Galleries? That was cool. Yeah. Daniel, hello to you as well, mate. Hello to you. Have you seen Visions yet? Have you seen it? Let me know in the chat if you have. I'm working my way down through the comments. Again, if I've missed something and it's vital, stick it back in and I'll read it. You know, I'm basically Ron Burgundy in the chat. I read everything I see pretty much without taking it in first. So yeah, I can stumble into certain situations. I would love to see more about the first character. Do you mean in the duel with the dude who's not a Jedi, not a Sith? Not quite sure what he is. Because that's Ronan, yeah. And he's there's a book out or coming out about the characters in that episode. He was obviously the main one. So I think there will be more. There will be more. But I really enjoyed the mystery of not really knowing what he was about or what he was up to. I'm quite happy not to find out. Gaz Nottingham, I binged these yesterday over 2 sittings and enjoyed them. The first one worked the best for me. Yeah, the duel felt very Seventh Samurai in a great way. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but I loved the visuals of that episode. In so many ways, that was one of the best for me. But there is no episode called The Duel. I've got the list here, actually. I don't think there is. That doesn't ring a bell. No, the twins, the village bride, the ninth Jedi, the elder, the duel, but not the duel. The duel. The duel. Might be my pronunciations. Simon D, have Disney edited any of Lucas' series Underworld? I think there's a ton of footage Lucas shot. They could milk that surely. Yeah, it's like the detours as well. It's like there. A whole episode leaked. It was okay. Why not just drop it on Disney Plus. Did they shoot much of Underworld? I don't know how much they shot of it. I know some concept art was I don't know I doubt it was officially released, but leaked. Did they shoot much or any of Underworld? But yeah, Visions and other stuff they've released to Disney Plus. There is a platform now for non-canon material. So yeah, why not? Why not milk it if it's there? Oh, I think you meant for Jewel. Did you mean a Jewel? I don't know if I've been. It's my pronunciation. I think it's been confusing. Good. Yeah, I've been enjoying What If. To be honest, you can go into it with no expectations, like Visions, and the twists and turns it takes you on. Shouldn't and can't offend you. Because it's not canon. It's just fun and interesting. Simon, I didn't know you were into anime. I'm not inspired necessarily, but maybe I'll look into that just for you, Simon, and for the fact I do like a bike chase, especially when it's a stunning one, and especially when it's at the start. So, like, at least I've got that out, and if the film bores me afterwards, I can turn it off. Yeah, no, to be honest, I will check that out. At some point soon. Anders, only seen the first few episodes, but enjoying it so far. Sige is not an anime dude, in case you were wondering, maybe worrying about it too. Yeah. It's interesting, I know you can be cynical and say that Lucasfilm, Disney have jumped on the anime bandwagon, perhaps to bring an anime audience to Star Wars. But, on the other hand, these were genuine anime studios. So there's every chance that they can bring Star Wars fans like me who don't know anime to anime. So it kind of, hopefully is a win-win situation for both the franchises, if I can use that word. But Simon D's not into anime, but the film was very well made. Okay, so maybe this is the one for me. I mean, I'm not into anime. It hasn't put me off anime. It's just not necessarily inspired me to go and watch more. On Reg, give us Star Wars detours. That's the hashtag. Hey, let me just bring in another final story. This you may have seen. It's not like huge news, but we'll cover it anyway. So there is a Disney Plus Day, everybody. Did you know that? Well, now you do. Put it in the diary, November 12th, Disney Plus Day, and there's loads of stuff happening. So Shang-Chi, which I mentioned last week, I loved. I've really enjoyed that on the big screen. That will be streaming on Disney Plus. A new Home Alone film. I think it's like a Simpsons special and all sorts of stuff. But focusing on Star Wars, there is a Boba Fett TV special. So November 12th. There's some of the things that are happening. And there isn't a whole lot of information. So I'm on FanForTracks at the moment, fanfortracks.com, a Star Wars fans news kind of site. They do podcasts and all sorts of stuff as well. Well worth checking it out. But one line here, a special celebrating the origins and legacy of Star Wars legendary bounty hunter Boba Fett. Now, I don't know if Chad's still here in the chat, but I know he feels that people go a bit OTT for Boba. And I don't disagree necessarily. But, of course, this is a promotional vehicle for a little series coming out in December called The Book of Boba Fett. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this because, for a lot of people, their introduction to Boba would have been in, like, Attack of the Clones, maybe even later on in the Clone Wars, maybe even just recently in The Mandalorian. I really believe that The Mandalorian is a great entry point for new Star Wars fans, because, yeah, there's some fan service in it. Yeah, there's some callbacks and connections, but you can still just get involved with the Mandalorian specific storyline and not feel alienated. So some people genuinely would have discovered Boba for the first time in The Mandalorian. So I think this is actually, okay, it's promotional material, but I think it's actually a really good idea and really cool. And I think it's important to go back and, tell the history of this character from obviously on screen, but also behind the scenes as well. Jeremy Bulloch, R.I.P., is the original Boba Fett. Actually, the original Boba Fett was a cartoon in the holiday special. So the holiday special is going to get more publicity. Sorry, George. But for a lot of people, Tamira Morrison, who a lot of people know as Jango Fett, will know him as Boba Fett. It's all very confusing, isn't it? So, something like this that can shine a light to the people that created Boba off screen, the original guy in the suit, Jeremy Bulloch. And I know a lot of people just say, well, he only said a few lines and they didn't even use his voice. Well, just like Darth Vader with Dave Prowse, it's a physical performance. Jeremy Bulloch, in my interview with on this channel, my interview with him many years ago, still available to watch on YouTube for free. He used Clint Eastwood films as the inspiration. Fistful of Dollars as the inspiration for, Boba not needing to say much. The movements, the physical actions said it all. So I think, again, it's a promotional thing for the new series, but I think it's a really cool thing, and perhaps an important thing as well, depending on how they do it, how they treat it. And of course, this could well be the first time we see some footage from the Book of Boba Fett as well. So November 12th, did I say? I mean, I didn't set the date. November 12th is what Disney say. So yeah, there we go. I don't know if we'll get a trailer because I don't know how that would work. Because this will presumably be released onto Disney Plus like normal content. So usually late at night in the States, say early in the morning in Europe. I don't know how that would quite work for a trailer, but I think clips, the kind of sizzle reel style clips within this show could work. And then perhaps we'll get a trailer separately drop in around that time as well. Let's see what you guys think before we wrap up the show. Hey, Phil's back. Back from his dinner. We've done Visions, mates. You'll have to rewind. And Phil for episode 1 was okay. Visually very interesting. I added I agree. It's interesting. But story only okay. And Simon D is inquiring as to what Phil had for his dinner. Bamford steaks and blue milk. Surely. Hello to Astramus. Hope you're well, mate. I can see you there. Gaz Nottingham, I'm hyped for the Book of Boba Fett, hoping to see if my theory of seeing him rescued from the remains of the Sarlacc pit by Tusken Raiders happens. Yeah, I think that's the first time you've told me that theory. I hope it's flashback heavy. I hope Daniel Logan gets a little role as well within one of those flashbacks. Yeah, I think we need to know what happened there. So whether it be via Tusken Raiders. One of the few books I read when I was a lot younger was Tales from Jabba's Palace, which I guess isn't canon anymore, and it did cover Boba within the Sarlacc and escaping. I don't remember Tusken Raiders being involved, though. So that's quite possibly Gaz is exclusive theory. Sige will definitely watch the Boba thing. Big fan. Got Jeremy Bulloch's signature on my wall. He was a lovely, lovely man. And it wasn't that really nice. The final was it the final episode of The Mandalorian season 2? They had an in memory of Jeremy Bulloch at the end because it was around the time he had passed. Obviously, that would have been shot, edited. They obviously went back to the edit and added that in. That was a really nice touch. So Disney aren't all bad, are they? Bulloch was the OG. He was the OG. He is the OG. I hope he gets a light shined on him in this show. Isn't the Boba Fett TV special released in September? No, November 12th. Hello to Tristan, mate. Good to see you. Sige has added, Jeremy Bulloch was lovely when I met him. He had lots of time for me, showing him my daft Boba Fett hoodie. Yeah, he genuinely had time for everybody. I saw him at conventions and I saw him out of conventions, and he was the same guy. He always had time for people, even when he wasn't earning money. Andrej, Mr. Bulloch gave Boba his calm and deadly style. Exactly. Astramus, I'll reopen my Disney Plus subscription when Book of Boba gets released, but I'm really more interested in Din Djarin's story. Well, yeah, I think we've got a long time to wait for that, but I imagine there have been rumors that we're going to get a bit of Din in Boba. So, yeah. You're not going to be able to miss out on it, are you, Astramus? I don't think. Yeah. All right, everybody. Oh, homemade pork garlic Kiev. Womeris would be into that. Phil, delicious stuff. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We've gone 10 minutes over. Chad's not here, so I blame him. He wasn't here. So I just kept going. And now I've realized we're 10 minutes over. We're not over. It's 30 minutes-ish. That's the official duration. But thank you, everybody, as always, for joining. I hope you've enjoyed the little addition to the random Airbnb background of the lights. Proper YouTuber now, colourful lights in the background on a washed out webcam. Final one from Simon here. Mr. Bullock even gave his time to Jamie in the wretched hive of Streatham. It's true. It's true. That was his manor in South London, Streatham. And yeah, he came, spent pretty much a day with me, completely unpaid. Did buy him a coffee, though. I'm honoured to say that I bought Boba Fett a cappuccino. Asmus says, cheers and stay safe, everyone. Absolutely stay safe, one and all. Din is coming for everything Boba worked for perfect Mando, really. That's from Sige. And Simon D, Jamie, you should interview Richard Chew and Paul Hirsch. Are they achievable? I've never tried. I'll have a look into that, Simon. Simon, I need to email you soon anyway about what we spoke about recently. So when I email you, can you remind me? Because I like to go and write this down straight after I finish. But by the time I've done, I spent a second doing other stuff, not thinking about it, I won't do it because that's the way my mind works. Just the one cappuccino, yeah. We were shooting. We were busy shooting. An amazing interview. And sketch, actually. He played clones of himself, which was good fun. James Flakes, great show, Jamie. Stay awesome out there, everybody. And thank you to Simon. Thank you to everybody. And also Gregory. Can't wait to see a Cad Bane Fett showdown in the Book of Boba. That would be cool. Live action Cad Bane. David, enjoyed the stream per usual. Have a great week, everyone. Yeah, don't forget to smash that like button. If it's Chad's job to fail bringing me into time, it is David's job to tell you all to hit that like button because I will always forget to. Thank you, David, for doing that. Right. Oh, okay. Chew and Hirsch have done recent Zoom chat somewhere. Right. Okay. There's an in. There's an in. We'll look into that then. Bye, everybody. So let's keep waving till I hit the end broadcast button. There it is. About to hit it. Goodbye, everyone. Take care. Thank you for joining me. See you next week.